Hey, I'm making big, soft cinnamon rolls today. Look at that. I tell you what, these are better than anything you can buy at a store. And let me show you how to make them. I'm using a bread machine for the dough. And so into the bread pan goes 3/4 cups of water, or 175 grams of water. And next, 1 egg. All right. And we'll break this up just a little bit, and all the ingredients will be listed in the description box below. So break the egg up. And then next we want to put 4 tablespoons of sugar. I'll tell you what, the bread machine makes this so easy. 1½ tablespoons of powdered milk, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1½ teaspoons of kosher salt. And next up is the flour. 2 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, or 380 grams of flour. Just put it right in the center of the bread pan. And then make a little cup or an indention, and that will hold the yeast in just a moment. Next comes the butter. 3 tablespoons. This is regular salted butter, and I'm going to cut it into 4 sections, or I'm going to cut it into quarters, just like that, and then put 1 piece in each corner of the bake pan. So in they go. All right, and then the last thing is the instant yeast, and I'm going to put 1½ teaspoons of instant yeast, just like that. So simple. And now into the bread machine. I'm going to recommend a couple of bread machines for you. It is just such a nice thing to have. And I'll set it for the dough setting. Make sure if you get one that it does have a dough setting, and push start. And this is what it looks like before it gets going. I think all the machines have a dough setting, but you certainly want that. Now, once it gets going, you don't have to do anything. I haven't touched it, and it does all the work. And so while that's making the dough, I'm going to prepare the work surface for making the cinnamon rolls. I put some wax paper out and a little flour on the wax paper, and now the dough is ready. Look at that, beautiful dough. And so we'll put that out on the wax paper. And then we just need to work the dough a little bit. It's a little on the sticky side, but not too bad. You can see it trying to stick just a little to the wax paper. A little flour will take care of that. You don't want to use too much, just enough so it's workable and so that you can use a rolling pin. I don't use a rolling pin very often, but I'm going to use one for this. And so you put just a little flour, a little on the rolling pin, and then you start to work and roll the dough. And I use the wax paper kind of as a guide. I try to make it about as wide as the wax paper. And try to make a rough rectangular shape. It's not that critical that it be perfect, so don't get hung up on that. So you just work this dough. It's very flexible and pliable. You can turn it with the wax paper, and that makes it easier. At least it's easier for me when I use the rolling pin. I can just turn that wax paper to turn the dough. And so just work it until it gets about this size. See that? And I don't have a specific size to tell you. Just spread it out and get it about 1/4 of an inch thick, the dough, or you can even make it thinner. It's up to you. Okay? Now, what we're going to do next is take some soft room temperature butter, and you want to put it on the dough and then spread it out, because we need a nice coating of butter on the dough. And that's what the cinnamon sugar mixture will mix and stick to. A lot of times when I do this, I just use my hands to spread it out, but I thought I would be a little neater and use this simple spatula. Now I'm not taking that all the way to that edge there closest to me, so the butter stops just about an inch before. And next is the sugar and cinnamon mixture, and that's the ratio that I use for this. And you can put as much or as little as you like. I'm going a little heavy, I don't know. I'm really wanting something sweet, and these extra large cinnamon rolls just seemed like a good idea. And then I take the rolling pin to kind of even everything out, lightly press it, not very hard, just enough to smooth it out just a little bit. And next is to just rolling it up, and begin rolling it just like this. Try to get it as tight as you can. Work it away from the wax paper. And then you can see where I didn't take the cinnamon sugar all the way to the edge, and that's so this part of the dough will really stick and it'll seal and close. So you can stretch it out like this, close it, and then push the ends in. Some people just cut those off, but I don't know why you would do that. Just push them in, get them even like that. Simple. And it's just the width of that wax paper. And then get a knife, and I'm going to cut it into thirds because I want some really big cinnamon rolls. And then divide those thirds in half, which will give me 6 big cinnamon rolls. Of course, you could make them a little smaller if you don't want them quite so big and thick. And then put them in a pan. I've buttered that pan, and there's only 6 rolls when you cut it that way. And look at that. So we put them in the pan, and I'm going to put some butter on top, some melted butter. It helps them stay moist and helps them rise. And then once we get these all coated with some butter, I'm going to cover it with a cloth and put it in the oven. Now I've turned the light on in the oven, and that's given me a warming area for proofing, and I'll put that in for an hour. And while that's proofing, I'll take the rest of that butter, about a tablespoon of butter, that softened butter, and I'll put that in a bowl, and I'm going to make the icing to go on these cinnamon rolls. And then about 2 ounces of soft, room temperature cream cheese. And it's so soft you can just squeeze it out. You can see how soft it is. So there's about a tablespoon of soft butter, 2 ounces of soft cream cheese. And we want to work that together just a little with a whisk. It's very easy. And then I'm going to add some warm milk, and that will help combine all of these. It's just barely warm, just a little above room temperature. I didn't really warm it that much. It just helps to combine all these. And then you add powdered sugar, a little at a time, until you get your frosting or icing to the consistency you want. And then I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now this is clear vanilla extract, but you can use regular, the dark brown, doesn't matter. Just trying to keep the icing a little whiter. Now look at how these have risen. Fill that pan up. They've been in the oven rising for an hour. So I've preheated the oven now, and they're going into a 350-degree oven for about 25 minutes. And you'll just have to watch them at the 25-minute mark. You'll need to take a look, and if they need to go a little longer, well, just let them go a little longer. And after the bake time is up, there you have them, nice and hot. I let them set for 5 minutes, and now I'm going to put some of the icing on. And my icing is thin enough I can brush it on, and so I brush a good coating of icing on, and I'm not going to use it all at this time. After I put this on, I'm going to let it set for another 5 minutes, and then I'll put a little more icing on. And then when I take the cinnamon rolls out, I'll put a little bit more on. That way there's plenty of icing. And so let's pull one of these out and take a look. Did I say big cinnamon roll? Well, that's what I call a big cinnamon roll. Big and soft and delicious, take a look at this. Do you like big ones? Oh my goodness, it is so delicious. And that's how you make them. If you want a big cinnamon roll, look at that. This is how you make them. Hey, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye now.